Hey guys, welcome to the StrengthSolutions podcast. And if you're looking for us on social media, it's Facebook, StrengthSolutions. On Instagram, it's StrengthSolutions Empowered. On TikTok, it's Strength.Solutions. And if you are looking for a website, it's ssempowered.com. If you're looking for us and trying to purchase a blog or guide, make sure you go check that website out. Then, if you're looking for an amazing time for a fitness question, it's StrengthSolutionsEmpowered@gmail.com. On Instagram, I'm StrengthSolutions Edwin.
I'm StrengthSolutions Nathaniel.
All right, let's get started. So we have a new guest. Her name is Neva. And
Hello, Neva.
Hello.
She's amazing at what she does.
Yes.
I literally used it on Thursday. I didn't tell you because I hurt my back.
Yeah, I know.
And it wasn't with her. It was with one of her employees.
Okay.
But he's amazing as well, woman. And it's a great place to get yourself fixed and everything. And now, Neva, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, your story. I mean, you could start from when you were like a little girl too. Like you'd be like, I knew from the day I was born.
Nobody wants to know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Neva. I own Neva Massage and Yoga Studio. A little bit of backstory. I was in retail for 14 years.
Wow.
Which was a lot of fun. I always say retail keeps you very, very young. And
So what retail, real quick?
like which stores?
What store?
Yeah.
I worked at Payless Shoe Stores at 18 years old for 6 years, and then I went to Guess.
Okay.
I was there,
Yeah.
I think, 5 years. Then I worked at Cachet, which is...
What is Cachet?
Yeah, I don't
Cachet
think I know
is
about
like
that
a woman's boutique. Well, it was. It's no longer
Okay.
around.
Okay.
At least, they don't have any physical stores. I don't know if they went online, but they're not here anymore. And I guess I left at a good time. But in 2006, I was leaving my best friend's house, and I had like a stack of books in my left hand, and my left arm is like my strong lifting arm. And my son, who was then 2 or 3 years old, wanted me to pick him up. So I swooped down with my right, which is not the side I'm used to carrying him on.
Yeah.
I picked him up, and when I stood up, I felt a pull. I couldn't straighten up, and I'm not even sure how I got to the car because he was still in my arms and the books didn't fall. So, and I drove home. I woke up in the morning, and I was completely like bent, like almost like a 7 or like a greater than symbol.
Wow.
And I don't call in unless it's absolutely necessary. So I went to work, and my then boss said, you need to go get a massage at the food court. Because this is at La Cantera. There was like
Okay.
the chairs at La Cantera. And I said, oh, I don't like massages. They really hurt. And she's like, you cannot walk around like that. So I went, and in 15 minutes, I walked out. I was really straight, and the pain was so minute that I almost didn't feel it. I felt like if I moved too quickly, it would come back.
Sure.
And so I walked down back to the store, and I said to myself, I really think I could do that. That was amazing. And okay, this is 2006. It's before the smartphone. And we didn't have Google at the store, so I went to the phone book. Well, I opened the drawer to the phone book, and on top of the phone book was sitting the brochure for the school that I was looking into, which was the Academy for Massage Therapy Training. And it was just sitting in there, and I pulled it out like, wow, like that was loud and clear. So I called, and I set up a tour for it.
Okay.
So this is a bit like when things are meant to be, it's really meant to be. While all of this is going on in just life, we were a small boutique store. We were not considered a prom store. And in the company at that time, they had a contest that if you, like the store that sold the most prom dresses that year, the store would get $2,000 to divide amongst the employees. So each manager would get $500, and each part-timer or whatever we had would get $250 each, and we only had 5 employees.
Okay.
We were really small.
Yeah.
What we did have was a lot of cocktail dresses. And this is like a really long story.
No,
you're great.
So,
You're great.
apparently that was the year of the cocktail dress. And
Whoa.
we got a phone call saying we won $2,000 to divide amongst everybody, which was shocking in itself. So I go down to my tour. A couple days later, I go down to my tour. You know, I like what I'm hearing. I said, well, is there financial aid that I could apply for? And she says, we don't really accept financial aid, but we do have programs. The one that people normally sign up with is if you intern for, it was either 50 or 100 hours. I'm pretty sure it was 100. We waive your tuition. And I was like, great, sign me up. I paid $395 for my school, which Cachet gave me the money to do.
Very cool.
So it just really lined up, worked out, and everything else has fallen into place ever since.
Oh, cool.
So everything happened at the right time. Like if my son hadn't said, pick me up, this would have never happened.
Isn't that interesting?
Don't tell
how
him I said that.
It's really
Is that
interesting.
the boy I see all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. Just like how things like that happen, right? Because I think the same thing too. We all sort of started in health and fitness, doing something else. You know, like I was working at Target, and I wanted to be a music teacher. You know, that was like my thing. Edwin was going to school, I guess, to be a teacher for a
I was
while.
gonna coach and teach.
Yeah, and then we just kind of all like fall into this path a different way, you know?
Right.
And so you said that was in 2006,
Yes.
right? So I guess like what were your plans prior to that? Like were you just going to continue retail? Did you have any other things that you were going into?
I was actually, so I came to San Antonio in 1992. I was as a freshman at Our Lady of the Lake University. And I was wanting to be an occupational therapist. I met an occupational therapist in my junior year and senior year of high school. We had a program. It was a vocational program where you could, it was 3 days out of the week for 2 hours. We would go to the hospital, the neighboring hospital, and we rotated amongst all the departments in there. And we were in each department for 2 weeks. And I really loved radiology. And I loved the occupational therapy.
Right, okay.
And so I really wanted to do that. And I really wanted to go to Our Lady of the Lake. I don't even know if they have that in the program, but that's where I wanted to go. And I took my first biology class, and I was like, this is not interesting for me.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I had an 18-year-old mind, and I said, this is so boring. I would read the chapters that were assigned, and I would stop and I say, what did you just read? And I could not tell you what I just read. So I changed my major repeatedly. And then I finally called my mother and I said, you know what? I think that I need to stop going to school because I'm just wasting your money and I don't know what I want to do.
That's a real thing to say, though.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm like at this point maybe 19 or 20, and I said, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I think it's unfair for 18 to 19-year-olds to have to know what they want to do for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I mean she probably remembers the conversation a little bit differently, but that's the gist.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and then I got offered assistant manager position at Payless, and then I went up to management position. I think I had like 2 stores, maybe, and then I decided I don't want to do this anymore. So I didn't, and I started working at Guess, and I really loved that job. It was a fun job, and as was Cachet.
Yeah.
But then I hurt my back, and I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So you went, what was the name of the school that you went to for massage?
Academy for Massage Therapy. It's known as AMTT.
Does it still exist today?
Yes, it's in North Park.
Got it.
When I went, it was a little bit further down on San Pedro. And now it's in the North Park area.
How long does it take to become certified, I guess, in what you do specifically?
Well, the law changed in, I believe, 2007 or 8. It went from a 300-hour program to a 500-hour program.
Oh, wow.
And as far as I know, the internship is still 50 hours.
Okay.
So the rest is classroom time.
Got it.
And I think to take the test, just from what I hear from applicants, you have to wait to take the test like you sign up and then they let you know when you can come take it. So I don't know if that means we're getting a lot more massage therapists or just got harder.
I see.
But it was a great school. I loved my teacher at the time. I don't believe she's there anymore, but she was fantastic. And then but what I do in my business is not what I learned in school. It's completely different. Completely different. We don't, and I can't say that they don't teach this because I've been out of school since 2007.
It may have changed, yeah.
But they didn't teach the, gosh, I don't even know how to say it. They taught a therapeutic massage, but it was kind of they're going to teach you the basics and then you're going to pass a test. And at the time, for us, the most important part, like the biggest part of that test was the law. I hear it's changed, but at that time, it was the law. It was like a lot of questions about the law, and I was studying anatomy, physiology, and pathology, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't read this. But, common sense and all.
So it makes me think of like our certification process. It's a lot of information that's usable but not very applicable. Would you say something like that? And that's where like the real hours
it's applicable if you want to go work at a chain, if you want to work in a spa.
Okay.
Like it's an amazing massage. It feels amazing. Does it correct? Does it fix? Does it have staying power? Am I going to feel better even 3 days out? Probably not, because you're not fixing the source of the problem.
It'd almost be like if you go to the chiropractor who just like pop, I'll see you in like a couple of weeks or whatever. Feel real good in the moment, but doesn't fix the issue. Kind of like
yes,
that.
Because I mean, as I tell all my clients, whether they're seeing a chiropractor or physical therapy, if the problem is still there, you're going to go get those other therapies, and the problem's still going to come back because the source hasn't been found and worked on.
Yeah,
right.
Kind of like what we talk about.
So you're going through school, right? You finish this program. Like you said, it was kind of like teaching to a test, right? To just pass a test and get it done. I guess at what point do you realize like, oh, this isn't the full story? Like where did you go and then figure out to do these things where it was like, now we're going to target the source of the problem. And I don't want to just work in a spa. I don't want to just do this.
Oh, yes. Well, I got my first job was in a spa. However, it was in a gym. So I worked on a lot of, there at that gym, I think the massage was called muscle therapy, which is like the deeper tissue. I mean, I would still do what I learned in school. I was really good at it. I had clientele pretty quickly. And, but I didn't have the education or the knowledge behind it. So in 2008, so I started working there in 2007, but very late in the year, so November 2007. In March 2008, I took my first orthopedic class, and I literally told the teacher, can I say his name?
Yeah, you can say his name.
Okay, his name is James Woslowski. I said, I never want to do a relaxing massage ever again. It's not that it's not great and people need it, it's just I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I said, it was an 8-hour course, 6 or 8 hour course, and it was so much. It was so much information. And I said, how do they not teach this in school? And he's like, well, that's not what school is for. Once you're done with school and you get your license, then you figure out what you want to specialize in. I already know what I want to specialize, so I took a few of his workshops and other workshops since then with other amazing instructors, and you kind of just fill your toolbox with all these techniques and pull them out as you see fit. It's fantastic.
What was it, I guess, in that class that made you say something like that, where you were like, I no longer want to do relaxing massages, I want to do this?
When he demos, he kind of goes through, and that was a really small class. Like, he does not teach classes like this. There was probably maybe 10 to 12 of us. But nice. He'll ask, is anybody's upper back hurting? Does anybody have frozen shoulders? Anybody knees hurt? And there, I think we were just doing upper body. And somebody did have, like, I wouldn't call it frozen shoulder, but they were having shoulder issues. And in his demo, the pain was gone, and they could lift their arm. Even in the other workshops, even more so, because they're way bigger, and people go there with problems. And if he wants to work on something specific, he'll bring somebody from the outside in, and
Yeah.
they're on the table and we're watching. And you can see videos of him on Facebook. He fixes the frozen shoulders in minutes. It's like a 6-minute video. So that's when I knew. I was like amazed. I was amazed by it. It was fantastic. And, I asked about his workshops, and he travels all over the world teaching. And twice a year, he teaches out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He lives there, but he's only there twice out of the year.
Wow.
So when I want to take his courses, I have to drive up there. I won't go anywhere beyond Texas because continuing education is very expensive.
Yeah.
And then to add airplane and hotel, it gets to be pricey. But it's totally worth it.
Very cool.
My question is, so I've done a massage with y'all, and I see that y'all pull, make sure the legs look even. Where does that come from? Where does the method? Because, I've gotten other massages, they just go and start massaging you. So what makes that more of like what you do? How'd you come up with that? And just fill me in just how it started.
Well, again, in his class, he teaches you how to, palpate. You have a really great consult to see, we ask questions like, what are your hobbies? What do you do? What do you do for work? Do you lift a child? Do you breastfeed? Do you, I had to pause. I'm like, how do I say this? Do you breastfeed?
Yeah.
Do you, what is it that you do daily for long periods of time? And then we kind of start to build. And for me, I do it a little bit differently just because I've been doing it for so long. As I'm talking to someone and I can see the imbalances just having a conversation, and I start planning it out. I'm writing out left shoulders rolled forward, the hips one side higher than the other, blah, blah, blah. And once I get them on the table, I start to check for range of motion and, of course, traction. I want to see where the space is lacking or if they have too much stretch. Or too much traction, which that is never the case. But I learned it and then I made it my own. And that is really what you do with all this continuing education. You learn the technique. They don't even teach you sequence. They strictly technique, and you learn how to sequence it. When I hire and train somebody, I give them a little bit more because it is so daunting. It is so intimidating to be fresh out of school and learn all these amazing techniques, and you don't know how to apply them. You don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I was there. I was nervous. I lost a lot of clients.
Yeah.
Because they wanted what I used to do, and here I am saying flip, 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 and but then I said that's okay because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's how I you learn all these techniques. I'm sorry, I tend to verge off the conversation and try to get back. You learn your techniques and then you just make them your own. And in my training, when they train with me, I have them come with me into my sessions to see how I sequence it. And it's never the same because everybody's different. Every body is different.
So
That's crazy.
You've been doing this for years at this point, right? It's been a long time. What do you notice the most, I guess, through clientele? Do you see a lot of the same common issues? Is everybody truly totally different? Do you see any recurring things that happen often that people come in for?
Or you have a top 5 or something like that?
Well, I mean, the ones that always come in is I have neck pain, I have back pain, I have sciatic pain. Those are the top 3.
Okay.
Knee pain is probably 4, but mainly lower back pain and neck pain. And it's usually from their job or carrying or devices, computer devices, and also phones. And
Do you find that there's a common occupation you see come up a lot that comes in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone that works at a computer.
Okay.
Or does long distance driving, which I don't see a lot of long distance drivers, but it's very, very. As soon as they say I drive, I know what's up.
That's funny, because I have a lot of clients who have traveling jobs where they're constantly in a car all the time or flying or something, and it's those are the ones that no matter what age they are, they're just like kind of jacked up.
Yes.
It's like, and it's funny too, because you see that they have a lot of the same issues, like really tight hip flexors, or they're pulled really forward, or they can't retract, or or lower back pain, like you said, things like that. What do you do, I guess, in the massage then to help relieve, symptoms of upper back pain, neck, lower back? Are there certain things that you do?
Well, with upper back pain, we automatically release the pecs first. Well, I'm sorry. Every single massage, we work the hips first. Not the 20-minute clinical massages, because there's not enough time. If I can do it really, really quickly just to get a teeny tiny bit of stabilization in their hips. But if they're there for neck pain, I don't spend a lot of time with the hips, because 20 minutes goes by really, really fast.
Yeah.
So, I already lost my train of thought.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I keep hearing you guys
Okay.
saying this. What is a clinical massage? What is the difference between that and like a relaxing?
What we learn in school is a Swedish style massage, which is very flowy, relaxing. They teach you to never lift your hands off the client. They should always know where you are in the room. So if you have to like move for a second, make sure one hand is on the client. And if you have to walk away, just say, I'm going to walk away for a second. And I get it. It's very professional. In my first class with James Woslowski, he was like, no, don't even worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And it made me go like, but this is my training, And I left it. It was very freeing. However, a clinical massage, I'm calling it a clinical massage because I'm trying to treat something in 20 minutes. I normally call it an orthopedic massage with our integrated body work, because I integrate and my employees, we integrate stretching, SMRT, which is spontaneous muscle release technique, orthopedic techniques, myoskeletal techniques that we just went to a workshop with Eric Dalton, and he is fantastic too. And we kind of already were doing those, because Eric Dalton and James Woslowski are so similar that when we went to that workshop last June, we're like, oh, we already know how to do this. We felt like we were ahead of the class. And there was like 250 people in this class.
Wow.
It was a huge class.
Wow.
So we were already kind of doing those. But when we do like a clinical / orthopedic massage, again, we can either start face up or supine. Face down, prone, or on their side, just depending on what's happening in the body. Again, we start at the hips, we release the chest, anything. We tend to release anterior muscles before we release posterior muscles, or we go after the source versus the symptom. And more often than not, we work the symptom very, very small, very, very short. I know it's not satisfying for them, like mentally, like they just want you to put their elbow in there, kind of squeeze it, but it doesn't work. And it's going to feel great for about 2 or 3 hours, and then the pain is going to start coming back. And that's the difference between a basic Swedish massage and a clinical or orthopedic massage. I like to call it orthopedic, except for the 20-minute sessions. I like to call those clinical, because I'm trying to treat them as quickly as, say, a chiropractic visit, or when we go out and do events and we do 10 or 20-minute stretches. That's what we're trying to do, but with massage.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like in PT, a lot of people are like, I have knee pain, and we're like, that's a symptom. So, but we're going to work on your ankles or your hips.
Yes.
And then finding the cause and then fixing the actual issue to your symptom.
Yes.
Right. Because rarely does the symptom is actually the source of the problem, So would you, at any point, and the reason that I'm asking these questions, because I think a lot of people probably have misconceptions about massage therapy, right? Or massage therapists or anything like that.
Absolutely.
And so is there at any time where you would recommend someone and just be like, just go get, like, I guess a Swedish massage, right? Like, is there any time where those would be recommended, or should we always be looking for a clinical orthopedic type massage?
It's really up to what the client is looking for. If it's pain and they, if they're looking for something just to like mentally release, I say go get the Swedish massage. It's great. Don't come to us because it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Go anywhere else that you can get like a $50 or $60 Swedish massage. It's going to feel amazing if you're not hurting. If you just need kind of like a mental break. But if you are hurting and you don't want to be hurting, then look for someone that can do these type of therapies.
So if I'm someone who has pain, then I should be looking for an orthopedic clinical type massage.
Because it really isn't a luxury at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a question. So let's say someone's aspiring to be a massage therapist and they see all these things on social media, because you'll see a lot of things. You'll see like the scaffolding, and then you'll see the electric stimulation. You'll see different type of stretching. What are the pros and cons of like each different style technique, and maybe like describe the technique, right? So like, when they use that knife looking thing.
The scraping?
Scraping. Yeah. And just name the technique.
Or like
and then
cupping too. Like what the heck is that?
So
being honest, I don't know what the hell that is.
So like what's the pros and cons of each technique? And so maybe even the average person as they're going, and maybe they're not here in Texas and they're with their massage therapist, they could be like, okay, well, they did this and it affects me this way or that way. Just to give us a little bit more details about each one.
Well, I mean, that's a really broad question. Because I don't know every single thing that there is out there. I wish that I did, because there's so much, and there's so many new things coming out every single day. I get things on my feed and social media, and it all looks really interesting, and I definitely want to spend my money and go learn about it and like get educated about it. As far as like the scraping, the way that we use scraping, and I didn't used to do scraping. I was like, no, whatever the problem is, I can use my hands for. Wilman brought it into the business, and he started scraping people, and I said, did you get a certification for that? And he said, yes. And I said, great, I'm going to put it on your bio. So I did, and then I would watch him do it, and then I started getting a lot of videos about it. And I believe what it's really working is the like superficial fascia.
Okay.
You really shouldn't go deep. I mean, maybe there's therapists that do, but you can cause bruising. You don't want to injure somebody before you fix them. You want them to walk away going, that was the best. I feel amazing. Yes, I'll come back in 4 days. We usually recommend, if you're really hurting, to come every 4 days. The cupping, I had one therapist that did cupping, and she moved to Florida. Unfortunately, we really miss her.
Yeah.
What I saw in the cupping, she did it to me, and I don't know what it was originally created for, because it is Eastern. I don't know if it was toxin related, or if it really is again for fascial, to get lift the skin off the bone, off the connective tissues. Like you just really want to create a little bit of, I wouldn't say space there, but softness. So when you start to go deeper, the muscle's letting you. It's not fighting you. It's not being restrictive. It's just letting you go.
So is cupping something done before a massage?
I've only seen it done during, but a lot of chiropractors offer it as well. Chiropractic and acupuncture is often in the office too. So it's not necessarily a massage technique.
Yeah. It's funny because I've had, I guess, a similar technique done to me, not with cups, but I broke my foot a long time ago. And when I went to PT with one of my, the doctor that I knew, at the time to like, I guess, help relieve some of like the scar tissue and produce like mobility again. Oh man, it hurts so bad. But he would like pinch the skin and like pull it away and then like roll it. And dude, I was like,
I definitely do some rolling, and I always apologize because I said I'm very, very sorry for what I'm about to do, but I promise it will help you. And you really are picking up the skin and rolling it just to get it off the bone.
Right, because it gets stuck.
It gets really stuck. There's no mobility. There's restriction, and you can't use your body the way you want to.
Right. Let me ask you this question then too, because like I've been to massage therapists before, and it's like I feel like their whole goal was to like kill me. Like I was like, dude, this like, or you leave the session, you're like sore, like I was like, I almost feel worse, than before.
Yes.
And I remember I got a massage with the employee you were talking about that moved to Florida.
Yes.
So again, she was awesome. Yeah. And I was
fantastic.
like, and I was like, this is so different. Like, I was like, I thought you were going to I thought I was going to leave here crushed, and I was like, I just felt leaving better.
Yes.
And so why do, I guess, some therapists, I guess, go for that like super deep, like massage? And it's funny because I guess in the same way of like us personal training, like some clients come in and they're like, just kill me, like I just want to leave and be sweaty and dead afterwards. And I'm assuming,
I don't know why anybody would do that.
Yeah, and I assume that and I assume that in like massage, I'm sure some people come and ask you like, can you get really in there?
I do, and unfortunately, sometimes you can't change people's minds.
Yeah.
And sometimes if that's what they're looking for, we're not for them. And I mean, they're more than welcome to come back, and we will keep doing what we do. But we're not going to put elbows where they don't belong. Yeah. So they're more than welcome to go somewhere else that will do it. It is really retraining their thinking. Like it really, you have to hurt me in order to fix me. You don't. I do admit some areas are very tender. But it should never be excruciating. And if it is, communication, and we can let up a little, but it's not pressure. We're not killing people with pressure. It's the area that is just so tight and so adhered that even the smallest amount of pressure feels like an elbow. And it's not. It's our hands, our fingers, or whatever tool we're choosing to use, just to break up, again, connective tissues. It's normally connective tissues. Muscles, we develop trigger points in our muscle bellies, and it's due to posture and compensation. And once we get them out of that postural and compensation, we can go, and the trigger points will be gone. If they're still there, it's just very, very minimal. They feel different than a normal, just stuck muscle belly. And it requires really not very much pressure, and it just really, it's my favorite term to use, it just melts like butter. It's a fantastic feeling for me. I'm like, oh, that was fantastic. Did you feel that? No, I'm like, it was great.
It was awesome for me.
It was awesome for me. You're going to feel better too once you get out. So, again, it's just trying to retrain the client, their brain, their tissue, to let it happen, really. Just to let it,
It's almost like you're trying to find, we talk about this a lot, like the least effective dose. And like, just like in medicine, you wouldn't start with pain and just go straight to like Oxycontin. You would start with Tylenol, right? Like it's just a headache. Just try to find that effective dose for each client individually.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So again, and it's funny, I feel like I'm coming at you from like a very consumer standpoint, because, because it is, I think a lot of people do think like that, and it's like, so you go to the mall and there's the people who are like, oh, we're doing like deep tissue massages. Like, is that ever something that someone needs? What is a deep tissue massage? Like, what are these things? Because, and I'm probably going to go
on. Or like,
on.
when would you use it? Why would you use it?
Right. Yeah. Cause
well, I guess by definition, a deep tissue massage is just getting to the deepest tissues of your body, the muscles. We do a deep tissue massage, but it's not what
like the traditional
what's
sense?
Typical, I guess.
Right.
It's not a Swedish massage with deeper pressure. It's not that, and it's not. And it's not looking for, like, in school they taught us to look for the trigger points. We would palpate, we would find a trigger point. They would let us know where it was betwing 1 and 10.
So what is
like pain wise?
What is a trigger point?
A trigger point. Well, it's
asking.
Got to get the dictionary.
I know. I was like, I knew I should have brought my notes.
Just even in like terms that anybody would understand.
It usually develops in the muscle belly when. Gosh, I can't even. I am totally drawing a blank. Where's my phone? Let me Google it. So it's. Oh my God, I can't remember.
Let me ask you this point.
It's neuro something.
Let me ask you this then too, because
basically, the basic definition is when you have a tender point and it refers pain out.
Okay.
It's
so
like a neuro response.
if you press on it and say, oh, it's hurting, I'll be here, that by definition is a trigger point.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let me ask you this then. So like in other, I guess, of those Eastern type things like acupuncture or just like pressure points and things like that, like and
reflexology, right?
Reflexology. Like you can tell me this is totally a lie too, because this is a real question I have. Like I've seen the things where they're like, if you press on this point in your foot, it'll like relieve,
I mean,
you know,
I'm
that.
not saying it doesn't work. I don't know enough about it.
Okay.
That really wasn't the route that I wanted to take.
We need you to bash people here. No, I'm playing.
I need you to tell
I
me it's
mean,
dumb.
like some people love it.
Yeah.
You know, they asked me if I do it, and I said, well, I don't do that. However, I do give an amazing foot massage, but I'm not looking for your gallbladder or, you know, sciatica. I am really just trying to realign.
Have you ever gotten a massage like that? Like, have you ever just been like, I'm going to go see what's
However,
up?
when I was at my first job, they had brought somebody in to give us a quick, like 5-hour course. And
Quick 5 hours.
yeah, I think it was about 5 hours. Like where most continuing education is 6.
Okay.
6, 8, and then like 16, 24, 48.
So 5
on
seems
up.
small. Yeah.
So 5 was something small. It could have been 6. I don't know. I know we got a certificate at the end.
Okay.
But I didn't feel like I really learned anything. I do remember she said, like, what you are going to be feeling for when you're massaging the foot or hands is you're looking for some areas that are grainy. And then you massage those out until you don't feel that grainy area anymore. And I'm like, great, well, what is the grainy area?
Like, what
and
is
she
that?
really couldn't answer me. And I really wanted a more like a scientific answer. And if I had to like guess, just, you know, based on my experience, it's you're feeling fascia is what you're feeling. And you massage it until it's nice and smooth, and you keep on going.
And then you're done. Yeah.
But that's the only thing that it's probably like fascia.
Okay.
How
So-
interesting. Because like you see it all the time. You know, you go to the mall or you go to like some event or someone's doing some foot stuff, you know. And I'm
I mean,
like,
it feels
wow,
amazing.
no, yeah.
I'm a
It
big
feels
foot
amazing.
guy.
Yeah, I know
I like
you
my
are.
foot.
I know. Yeah.
I get this guy to massage my foot all the time. I prop it on the table, and then my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "It feels good."
I'm
It
doing
feels amazing.
It's reflexology.
No, what we do for the foot is we just try to get more range in the ankle. We make sure that the metatarsals and the tarsals are acting the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then we look for why it's not. Is it the knee? Is it the calf muscle? It's usually the Achilles
What
tendon.
about a head massage? Is that a thing? Like, do you guys do
I did
any-
have somebody one ask me to put my elbow into their scalp.
You're
Elbow
kidding,
into
I
dude.
head.
did,
No way.
and I said, I'm not doing that.
No.
It's like, I'm not killing you.
And she
Sorry.
said she got a massage like that in Hawaii, and it made her feel better.
Dude.
And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And
I think that's called trauma.
It is. I was like, there's something deeper there that we're not. We only have 60 minutes. I don't think I'm going to
not
do that
doing
for
that.
you today. Sorry. And I did have someone say, can you put your elbow like in my neck? And I said, no, I will not do that.
This is
either.
not a
This is
BDSM
not the
center.
same. It's not the same person, but probably did have a little bit of
You're like,
psychological
there's something going on
issues
there.
If I had to pinpoint.
To
Yeah.
guess it. Yeah. How interesting. So, me and Edwin, right? We're personal trainers. We love working out. We love lifting heavy, doing a lot of stuff like that. How often do you feel like people who work out, right, like in the gym, should get massages? Or are massages more of like a as needed type thing?
I think that, I mean, this is not 100%. It totally, in my opinion, that when people start working out, they're already starting that part of their journey in compensation, right? And they don't know it because they're able to function. And then they go and start with either a trainer that doesn't know that, or I mean, I really can't speak to that. These are just thoughts that
No, go for it.
that
Yeah.
are daily.
Just bash me right
Don't
now.
be
Like,
afraid.
no,
Don't be
no.
afraid.
I mean, no. I think
No,
you're amazing. Like, I have clients I work with. You're like, oh, one of them. I'm not gonna say who. She's like, she says he's teaching me to walk again, and I was like,
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I know. I said, I know. Isn't it great?
That's badass. That's really cool.
But they start off in compensation, and then they start to. Again, it also probably depends on what type of workout they're doing. Like if they're doing what is it? CrossFit?
CrossFit. Mm-hmm.
You know, and they just like,
Uh-oh.
they just like get thrown in there, or they throw themselves in there and just start boom, 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 boom.
It's
boom,
that
boom,
thing,
boom.
right? Where it's like they come in and let's say they already have an issue, right? And like you're saying, like let's say they find a trainer who maybe isn't versed in that, doesn't
Yes.
know something like that, and then they encourage the compensation more, right?
Yes.
Because they're like, just get the weight up or do whatever it is,
Yes.
right? And then they
And
end
then
up
they get injured.
Then they end up being worse off than if they maybe didn't work out at all, you know?
Yes.
And so
and then they have to stop for a while.
yeah, and then they end up like, you know, having all these other issues and having to start all over or whatever it is. So it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting how like all of it is connected.
Typically, I recommend my clients, if they can, and if it's in their budget,
Right.
like once a month.
Once a month, right?
Or if you're seeing a chiropractor or a physical therapist, because we work on like full body kind of movements, but these other professions, y'all can focus on just a target area, because we're trying to get cardiovascular training in. We're trying to get like the big motion, ranges of motion, motor gross movements, big ones, where y'all could focus on the small area. So my recommendation typically is like, if y'all can see, I tell all my clients, by the way, they should all be going to you. I tell them all the time is just once a month, at least get a scheduled
At least
once a
start,
month.
yes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if the issue's progressively worse, then do twice a month, 3 times a month, like once a week, something to get you going in the right direction. I literally have had a client in the past where her cervical spine was really curved, and I was like, there's no way I can help you. You have to go see a chiropractor or someone before me.
Yeah.
And they went to do that, and then they came back. They were much better, and this has helped that person a lot. And now they're working with the chiro, the physical therapist, and me all at the same time. I work on the big motor gross movement. Physical therapist focuses on the
Yes.
neck, and then the chiropractor focuses on the spine.
Yes.
Next step is to get her to get a massage from you, but
Yeah.
that's the next step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting how there's so many like pieces, right,
Oh,
that
gosh,
kind of
yeah.
go together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you had any luck with like networking with like chiropractors or physical therapists or anything like that? Or
Well, I have a chiropractor that I send people to. He is a little far from us, so I do have one that I have to contact, but I keep forgetting because my plate is so full. To get one a little bit closer. Now, the one that I sent him to, I trust explicitly because I would go see him, and he's fantastic. He's not going to do anything that isn't necessary. Like, if you don't need an adjustment, we're not going to do it. If
he's
you're
not
too
going to put
tight-
that cool thing on me and pull my head off?
No, ooh, that's scary. That is so scary. Oh my gosh. But if you're like, it is so scary. I don't
Dude,
know if
it's
people
super
trust
scary,
that.
yeah.
And they're like, oh, they're crying because it releases them emotionally. I'm like, I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think that's why they're
That's
crying.
okay. Let me ask you that question too. Yeah. So like, okay, so I've seen these things where they say like trauma is held in the body. What is your opinion on that type of stuff? You touch bodies all the time, right?
I
So
think
it's
that
like,
could be true.
really?
Depending on the trauma. Yeah, absolutely. It
Have-
can be held in the body.
Go ahead. I know you're
I'm
going
so good. I'm so good. No, it's like, okay. So have you ever had that happen to you? Like, have you ever like?
Have I held trauma in my body?
No, have
Oh.
you had clients who like maybe you release something or whatever and they have like a release of emotion or any of those types of things?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes, but no, not like that.
Yeah.
Those videos, no. I did it, I've had a couple of people cry because they just went through something sad. And like they lost a loved
Wow.
one. And, usually when you start to massage like the décolleté or the pecs, that's where you hold most of it and they start to cry. But is it because I'm releasing anything? I don't know. I don't ask them.
Yeah,
But they cry
that's
because
fair.
they just lost someone that they loved,
Yeah.
and it hurts. So they're crying. So
There was this book that was recommended to me called "The Body Keeps the Score" or something like that. I don't know if either of you ever heard of it, but it's like about, I think they call it somatic therapy, where it's like more physical as
Yes.
opposed to like talk therapy. What it like? I'm asking you because you literally feel tension in bodies all the
Oh,
time,
yes.
and
Absolutely.
it's like. Just, I guess, getting your opinion, or do you agree with that type of stuff? Have you ever tried somatic,
well, we do have one of the yoga classes is somatic yoga, and it's like yoga is movement, but
Right.
she describes it the teacher one way, I describe it another when I'm trying to explain to people who ask me about it. I said, I feel like it's range of motion yoga. You're moving into range of motion on purpose versus range of motion that we use daily to go through our days. And her class was wonderful. I've never done like the somatic exercises. I see them so much more now, all over social media. And I think there was an ad that said something about having an emotional release. Me personally, I that wouldn't happen with me. I'm not saying
I
it
could
wouldn't.
tell. I could tell that wouldn't happen with you because I could tell the way you think is very logical.
Yeah,
and analytical.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everything you're saying
Yeah.
is like very calculated, right?
I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
honestly, because I'm like asking these questions. You're just like, nope. And like, you're very like stick to what you do, which I love. That's very
yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I do like, it's not that I don't feel energy. I do. You feel it. You feel it from the earth,
Right.
from people.
About crystals, Neva. Are you a crystal girl?
No, but I'm surrounded by people that do.
Yeah.
And
Yes, 'cause
so
I can only imagine in that world of massage
Yes,
yoga, that's
yes.
gotta be huge.
it
Right?
is. It is really. I was going to tell the story, but she would absolutely know who she was, so I will not tell the story.
Tell the story.
You can
Nobody
tell,
else needs to know.
One of my clients was on my table, and she does. I think that she does hold a lot in her emotionally and like psyche, and people assume because I have a yoga studio that I automatically do like the crystals.
You're spiritual.
And
She's earthy, bro.
I really am, and I am spiritual. I come from I have two branches at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's on the table, and I'm like, I think I was massaging her neck, and I put too much lotion on my hands. So I would do like one swipe down her neck, and then I would tap the table, but I was cleaning the lotion off my hands because it was too much. And she says, "Are you releasing the energy that you're getting from me?" And I said, "No, I put too much lotion on my hands, and I couldn't grip your tissue and move it with me." And she's like, "Oh," and she thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
But I was like, "You think I'm way deeper than I actually am." I appreciate it. I just kept tapping the table just to clean the lotion off my hands.
Such like a funny story. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Okay, so let's talk about this part because you're Neva massage and yoga, right?
Yes.
So you do both. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, and I might be changing it here. We can always bring it back, but
Let me stop you there. I do not know that much about yoga.
That's okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I was honestly,
I was trying to refresh my education on yoga last night. I was like,
You're like,
there's
nope,
a reason I have not become a teacher yet.
How did you come into owning your business?
Well, after I left the first gym I was at, I moved into a teeny tiny office with 2 colleagues of mine. Actually, it was just one, and then after a while, it was 4 of us in this little office. And it was like the building itself was very old, and where we were, it looked like a whole business moved out, and instead of trying to lease out the entire space, they rented out the rooms. The manager had no idea how much people pay, or service providers pay for rent.
Yeah.
And he gave us, I'm telling you, everything just kind of aligned ever since I got into massage. So he would charge us, for me, I had the smallest room, $200 a month.
No way.
A month.
Wow.
Most
You're
places are
stealing,
$250 a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, it didn't have the sink. It wasn't fancy.
Sure.
It wasn't fancy.
It's bare bones.
There was a
right?
bathroom and a kitchen net, I guess you would
You're
call
like,
it.
there's a porta potty in there.
Yeah, but it didn't have where I was. It was beautiful, and this was just it's a trick. It did the job,
Right.
and we made it look as beautiful as we could. So I was there for 5 years, and I was really busy. I was so busy that I would often work 7 days a week.
Wow.
And I would slowly, my body started hurting. And my husband was like, you need to get some help. And I said, well, where am I going to put them? I have one teeny tiny office. How am I going to fit someone else in there?
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to expand. We need to grow your business. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, like he tried to convince me for like 3 years. I said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I know myself. If I am thinking about something and I get excited and I quickly am able to talk myself out of it, I'm not ready.
Mm. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So I left in 2013, and I think it was 2017. I thought about it, and then I started getting excited about it, and then I started planning it. So I knew that I was ready for it, like mentally ready.
Right.
It has been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But especially with COVID in the middle, I was like, my goodness. So we found the perfect spot, and we built it out very, very, frugally.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was beautiful.
Conservatively.
Yeah, very conservatively, very minimal. It was a very minimal looking studio. Well, when we moved in there, at the time, it seemed like the rent was really reasonable. And I said, well, why don't we just add the yoga now? Because I always thought of putting massage and yoga together, because I do massage and I would also take yoga. And I knew that yoga helped me feel better, and I was able to do my job because I was working out, but I was also doing the yoga once a week. And I would constantly tell my clients, go get in a yoga class just once a week.
Yeah.
Just go get into a yoga class, because it's going to make you feel better, but it's also going to make my job easier. Because some clients, they only come in when it hurts, and it's starting over with them.
That's got to be frustrating too.
Time.
Yeah.
And it was painful for me. I don't have the best body mechanics when I'm massaging. That's my fault. I teach them to have good body mechanics, but when I'm in there by myself, I'm like, I'll just do it really quick.
Do as I say.
I'll just do it really quick. And I do. I tell them, I'm going to teach you the right way to do it, and then I'm going to show you how I do it. Do not do it the way I do it. Because you're going to see me do it, and then you're going to be like, she doesn't do it the way she taught me.
She's a liar.
Do it the way I taught you, because your body will love you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So anyway, I'd been wanting to add yoga to massage. So when we got into that space, I said, the rent's not that bad. So the first year, the rent wasn't that bad. And in my grandeur dreams and thoughts, I thought, as soon as I open, I'm going to be flooded with people. Right. That is not true. That's absolutely not the case. You really, really, really have to market.
Yeah.
So we added the yoga. I heard some yoga teachers. I had hired really good yoga teachers. And I had one massage therapist. And that didn't work out. And I think it didn't work out because I think at that point I was hiring out of desperation.
Yeah.
Because
I've heard of this.
I actually was getting so many yoga applicants and no massage therapy applicants. And the person that I hired was going to one of the neighboring stores and walked in. He's like, hey, I just got my license. I'm like, you're hired. And I will train you. I'll train you on what to do.
Yeah.
Lots of trial and error. That's what my business was built on. Lots of trial and error.
Okay. That's the way it should be. Yeah.
And then we were finally doing good. COVID happened. We got knocked back. And it took a while to get everybody back. As a matter of fact, I think once I moved into MFL is when we were fully back. All my clients came back. There was a client that she was gone for 3 years. And she called me out of the blue, and I was like, yeah, you still have packages from 3 years ago. Yeah. Yes, and she's there every week. Love her.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
You have any other questions or anything like that?
I don't think so. Yeah, that was perfect.
All right. I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay.
All right. You got more to say?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. If you're looking for StrengthSolutions, we're on Apple and Spotify Also on YouTube, you can subscribe down below. Then, if you're looking for us on the internet, the big World Wide Web, you can go to ssempowered.com. We have free blogs, free guides. Then, if you're looking for us on social media, it's Strength Solutions on Facebook, strength.solutions.pod on TikTok, Strength Solutions Empowered on Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys. What?